Hello. Today's guest, Alderlady Shameem Clark Hubbard of the 10th Ward, City of St. Louis. Lots of fun today on the Bernie Hayes Show. Welcome back. My guest is from the 10th Ward of the City of St. Louis, the alder person, Shameem Clark Hubbard. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
So good to see you.
Good to see you.
You know, your hair again.
I changed it up, don't I?
So what's happening? You're on recess, I understand now. The Board of Aldermen on a recess?
Yes, we are on a recess till about September. This is a recess that happens normally from around July to September. And one of the things we talk about and tease about is that it's a good timing for this recess because it's really hot in the chambers.
Yeah.
It's very hot in the Board of Aldermen chambers. But a lot of times it's a good time to tend to constituent services, catch up on maybe some legislative research that you want to do if you're thinking about introducing some new legislation, or work on some legislation, work in the community, work with communicating with people about some legislation that you're in the process with that you'll pick back up after the break. So it's a they call it a break, but for a legislator, it's not really a break.
Is there certain legislation that you're working on?
Right now, just basic constituent quality of life needs in the ward, nothing big. Some of my bigger legislation that I passed and got passed earlier this year, unfortunately, some of them I had to circle back around with, like GBI, Guaranteed Basic Income, and it looks like we might need to circle back around with some of the ARPA reprogramming and reallocation funding on some of those, but other than that, it's just, we legislate anything from that all the way down to speed humps. So it's just the infamous speed humps legislation that we have to do now. So all of it is important. I treat all of it the same. So just working on that is what I've been doing. Again, in addition to being able to really catch up on constituent services.
You're in the 10th Ward now. The reduction from 28 to 14 wards, how did that affect you?
So the reduction, how it affected me was, of course, like every other ward, it grew larger. Each ward had to have, I think, about 21 to 22,000 constituents in it. Okay. And so for us, what the difference in that on the northern wards as opposed to the southern wards was the southern wards had a lot of their density still. Okay. And so they were able to find areas and keep some of the integrity of their areas and keep that number solid. The northern wards, where there was more geographic area, you had to pull together to get that amount of number of constituents, it made our wards larger. So the more north you go, the larger demographically the wards go, but they still have the same amount of constituents. Okay. Well, the contrast to that is also that the northern wards, we have more sometimes geographic needs. They meet our constituent needs just the same. Whereas in some of the southern wards, and this is clear on maps, any data-driven map that you show, that their constituent needs sometimes don't meet their geographic needs because their neighborhoods are still intact the way that they've been for decades. Sure. So the work is different, but again, it's all still important. And so for me, I have 8 neighborhoods. That's White Down Skinker to Bolivar Place, West End, Visitation Park, Academy Sherman Park, Fountain Park, and the Lewis Place neighborhoods. And when I ran, I said there was 8 neighborhoods, plus you and me equals the power of 10, because we were the 10th ward. Okay.
Well, and I guess Team 4 is still at play, is it not?
We have to, listen, that Team 4, I grew up under my grandfather.
Yeah, tell us who he was.
My grandfather, Joseph Clark Sr., who was at that time alderman of the former 4th Ward, the Greaterville, the historicville area and around in that regional area over there. That Team 4, it was kind of where it was being introduced. Yeah. And they knew it, and they could feel it, and they could see it. And as much as they fought against it and there are people still in place, I might add, that, introduced it and implemented it, and they're still in place. But anyway, so seeing that, I've seen it come to play. I tell people about this all the time. I have a book about this thick, literally, of newspaper articles that my grandmother had pulled from my grandfather being in when he was in politics. And I can still pull stuff from there that we're dealing with today when he was in politics.
I can imagine. I can just imagine. The Homer G. Phillips Hospital, that had an impact, the closing of the hospital and so forth, which was in the Fourth Ward. Yeah. And I know Cliff Wilson succeeded your father, and Daisy McFarland. They all of them came after Alderman Clark. And he made some wonderful changes in the city of St. Louis, and he was really impactful in this area. You know? Yeah. So, do you kind of pattern yourself after Mr. Clark?
You know, the funny thing is, I didn't think I did, but every now and again, Mr. Hayes, somebody will say, "You making your grandfather proud," or "You remind me of something," or "That reminds me of something your grandfather would have done," you know, or something like that. So again, clearly, I was a little girl. I was his grandbaby. I wasn't at tables where he was making change happen. I saw it, I could hear it, I was around it, but I wasn't in the intricate details of it. But whatever it was, it planted enough seeds that, again, I'm always honored when somebody says that you remind me of your grandfather.
What are the most important things in the 10th Ward now that you want to work on?
Well, the basic needs, again, daily quality of life needs for a constituent in the city of St. Louis is first and foremost, because when you have that secure and when people feel good about where they live and where they stay, then that spreads into a better quality of life for everybody, right? And so making sure I say on a good day, I'm a really good secretary for the 20-some thousand constituents in the 10th Ward. But on the legislative side, it's making changes in policy, making changes in systems that have been in place for so long and this are not working for our communities right now. Making sure that I feel like we should incentivize people that stayed, right? That hung in there, that chose to stay in the city through these very hard times that we are still going through. The neighborhoods I share with you, I'm sure you can see the demographic variances in those. So I have very wealthy constituents, and I have constituents that are trying to make it day by day. And so meeting both of their needs the same with the same urgency that they would need has been important for me, and it's something that I'm proud of, building up the personal relationships with my constituents. I show up myself. I give them my cell phone number. They can call me or text me anytime. I don't lie to them, right? I'm not a politician that's going to say, I can do this when I know I can't. I'm not going to say we can't ever do it, but I'm telling you, we're going to have to change some things if we want to do it, but we're going to have to work together.
Honesty.
Yeah. So that's the trust that I've built up that I'm proud of. I'd rather you not like me. I'd rather you not like me than to you fake like me because I lied to you or gaslighted you or told you that we can do something that we can't. And so I know that's the difference between me and some other politicians that people have experienced in the past, but it's what I can live with and look in the mirror and smile at every day. So that's what I do.
I know almost every place I go, there's Shameem Clark, Hubbard, there.
And I know I'm in the right place if I see you.
Oh my goodness, thank you. But I know that you commune, you into your ward constituency, and I see you in other wards too.
Yeah.
So you get along pretty good with all the persons.
Yeah, I try to build my relationships one by one. I just want to be supportive. I'm old school and respective, right, of people's positions. So I would never step into someone's ward at anything, especially not legislative or anything like that, without talking, talking with them, seeing that it's okay, just offering my support. I do it all the time. So I'm very old school with that, right? I respect that. There are people that don't, and that's okay. But for me, I feel better when I respect that. If constituents invite me to something or have me at something, I immediately say, have you reached out to your elected official? Say that. So that's the way I move. But I have no problem with going out and supporting anybody across the city of St. Louis. I love it. And I absolutely love going places that I've never been before.
Wow.
Never been before.
I understand. Shameem Clark Hubbard, person from the 10th Ward, is our guest today. And we've got some things to talk about because what she's done for the National Black Radio Hall of Fame and other institutions in the city of St. Louis. Back with Alderlady from the 10th Ward, Shameem Clark Hubbard, after this.
I want to offer you the rare opportunity to make a big impact in the lives of so many people. We know that there's an increasing population of women and children who are crying out to God for a safe haven. They're experiencing brokenness in so many ways, and we want to expand our Safe House program and purchase 2 new houses to minister to them and give them hope for a brighter future. And you can help us do that by registering to walk on our special walkathon. September 14th, in the beautiful Katy Trail, we're going to walk 6 miles. And by doing that, we raise sponsors. All of those who are registered to walk get their family and their friends, their business, their church involved. And in doing so, we spread the word that enough is enough. We're not going to let women and children cry out to God in this way, but we're going to minister to them by offering them a safe place to go. Again, you can register for this event by going to nlecstl.org/events or call 314-421-3020. And when you do, you will be walking with a purpose, walking to make a difference in the lives of so many people. Don't let this opportunity pass up. Get involved today.
The Bible says we have to be more than just hearers of the word, but doers also. And New Life Evangelistic Center gives you that opportunity to be a doer of the word. All you have to do is go to newlifeevangelisticcenter.org and look at all the tremendous opportunities that are available to you to directly help the homeless and hurting. Again, that's newlifeevangelisticcenter.org. Experience an opportunity to not only be a hearer of the word, but a doer also, letting the light and love of Jesus Christ flowing through you among the hurting and the homeless.
And welcome back. My guest is the 10th Ward Alderlady Shameem Clark Hubbard. The National Black Radio Hall of Fame now have 32 chapters around the country, and we're headquartered at Arizona State University. And the Alderlady, sitting here with me now, prepared resolutions for all the inductees for 2024 inductions. And they wanted to say thank you. It's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, and everyone in Atlanta, Georgia is going to get a resolution from Shameem Clark Hubbard. How do you feel about that?
That feels amazing to me. Let me tell you why. Resolutions are a very unique way that we as aldermen, and only aldermen, can honor any, whatever the resolution is about. So a person, an event, a policy, a building, anything that we want to make sure is captured in the narrative, in the official history of the city of St. Louis, which is what resolutions do. Yeah. That is why we get to pass those resolutions. And then the fact that I talk about it all the time, the fact that we pass them the same way we pass laws and the same ways we pass ordinances in the city of St. Louis. So where we as alders co-sponsor, sponsor, and vote, right? And vote on them. So just think, to me, it's so fulfilling that I'm able to not only honor them their way, but actually vote and speak. And we know something about the power of speaking and the power of what we speak a collective I on in consensus on whatever what the resolution is about. So being able to honor the National Black Radio Hall of Fame this way, and those inductees, and now they'll know that they can look up forever in the history of the city of St. Louis and find their names and their work and their legacy. Yeah, it makes me feel good. I feel good about every single resolution that I'm asked to do.
Well, they certainly appreciate what you've done. How can they reach you, Alderwoman? How can they reach you?
Yeah, I mentioned earlier I give out my cell phone number. So my personal cell phone number is 314-393-1393. It's a trick to that, Mr. Hayes. It's the same backwards and forwards. Yes, 393-1393. And then
that's the very same.
Yes, it's the same backwards and forwards. And so it's easy to remember. So anyone can call or text me there, or I can be reached at email at clark@stlouis-mode.gov.
And your website also?
My website is www.ShameemClarkHubbard.com. And I'm also on LinkedIn, Shameem Clark Hubbard, Facebook, Shameem Clark Hubbard, Instagram, Shameem Clark Hubbard. Twitter is SCHubbard10.
Wow. Tell us about Shameem Clark Hubbard. Who are you?
Shameem Clark Hubbard is a wife, a mother, I'm about to be a grandmother.
Oh, congratulations.
I'm so excited about that. We're really counting down now, actually. I was a licensed Missouri State cosmetologist by trade. And in my trade and in my of 30 years almost, I'm telling my age, of 30 years now, in my trade, I think that level of community service uniquely gifted me and uniquely equipped me for the level of community service that I'm doing now. And so
You've already built-in constituency, right?
Yeah. Well, not necessarily a built-in constituency because I'll say a lot of them did live in my area because I had my salons in the former 26th ward.
Okay.
I was the former 26th ward
Right.
lady prior to the 10th ward. So the area was there. But yeah, it was just the way that I'm able to your point, commune with different people, all different kinds. And one of the other things I said is I'm able to keep a secret.
Okay, all right. The name Hubbard, that's the public service.
Yes.
That's kind of associated with public service. Tell us about the Hubbards.
Generations. Yeah. My husband was a former state representative.
And his name is?
Rodney Hubbard.
Rodney Hubbard.
My father-in-law, Rodney Hubbard Sr., was a committee man. My mother-in-law, my mother-in-law, former state representative, former commissioner on probation and parole board. My sister-in-law, former alderwoman and committee woman. So it's just generations, and all of us give in our own ways, right? All of us give and serve in our own ways. And to think sometimes it really breaks my heart sometimes that if you can believe it, we are almost penalized for it, talked about for it, versus someone saying, this is a whole family, an extended family that has chosen to give back to their community in this ways. It's really heartbreaking sometimes, but it doesn't stop anything.
They should be revered.
It doesn't stop anything.
Well, tell me this. When you seek advice, whom do you turn to?
Well, I'm going to be honest, I pray a lot. I pray and I listen because for me, one of the things my grandfather taught me that I carry with me daily is to make sure my decisions benefit the greater good. And if you keep your mind and your heart set on benefiting the greater good, then you'll be on the right side. And so for me, anytime I go specifically to a need. So say if I'm trying to figure out how to tile and do this brown table, I'm not going to call my girlfriend that I did hair with. I'm going to find the person that builds brown tables and tiles and things. So for me, I do my research. I listen. I love history. I love going back on, again, I told you about that book, seeing where there might have been mistakes that people learn from that I can learn from and use to move forward. I listen to the person closest to the need, closest to the problem, and then I work the systems and the policies around it to find solutions. And I never try to do it by myself.
I noticed that you always return phone calls and texts. Is that something you learned after becoming a public servant, or would you do that all the time?
Well, here, again, like with being a cosmetologist and having my own salons, I had to do it all the time, right? I had to return it. So, but also I knew for me, I think about the old treat people as you want to be treated. And so if I'm a constituent calling my auto person, I want my auto person to respond. If I'm just a constituent calling the office or calling someone or calling Citizen Service Bureau, I want someone to respond. And so that's what guides me every time. I never not respond. And if I have not responded, there must have been something going on.
Okay.
Something going on. But even some people I know have a hard time responding when it's not the answer that they think the person might want to hear. But remember, I told you, I'd rather tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I'm going to respond with the truth either way, and then we can work towards a goal or not, but I'm not going to not respond.
Okay. Once again, tell us how to reach you.
I can be reached again on my cell phone at 314-393-1393.
Say just a little bit slower.
314-393-1393.
And you say it's the same.
It's the same backwards and forwards. It's easy.
Yeah, okay. And the website and communicating with you at the board, how do they reach you?
Clark-Hubbard S at stlouis-mo.gov or www.shameemclarkhubbard.com. But listen, that cell phone number is the best way. That's my personal cell phone number. It's by me right now. And so, and I think about how I was preparing for this. The irony is I chose that number back when you could choose your cell phone numbers in the 90s. Again, I'm saying how old I am. But I chose that number for my grandmother, Shirley Clark, which was Joseph Clark's father, because I wanted something that she could remember easily when she used to call me. That was in the mid-90s. Okay. So, and now look, it's working for me still.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
That's great. So that was prophetic almost.
Yeah.
Shameem Clark Hubbard is my guest. She's the Alderlady from the 10th Ward in the city of St. Louis, Missouri. And we're at the New Life Evangelistic Center, 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. And Reverend Larry Rice has been helping those in need for over 52 years. And we'll be right back with Shameem Clark Hubbard after this.
As we feel the darkness pressing in upon us, both personal needs and needs in the world, society as a whole, it's easy for us to get depressed. And when we're depressed and negative and feeling hopeless, we're not going to be able to help anyone. That's why I daily have to draw strength from the Word of God. That's why I have to go on walks in the midst of the wonders of God's works. And that's why I have to be able to see something that's worked for many, many years in my life is that Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. That He's with us always, even to the end of the world. And that we can be a light, letting His love and power flow in us and through us in a cold, dark world. There are people hurting out there. There's people that are crying out to God at this particular moment in the midst of their desperation. Can we be led by the Holy Spirit to them? Can we believe God to reach out and let His love flow through us and by faith help them meet their needs? That's the challenges that the Lord gives us in His Word. Experience the joy of really helping somebody else and letting the light and love of Christ shine in you and through you.
We're going to focus on Shirley Chisholm, born Anita Hill on November 30th, 1924, in a predominantly black neighborhood in Brooklyn, New York. Chisholm spent part of her childhood in Barbados with her grandmother, and after graduating from Brooklyn College in 1946, she began a career as a teacher and went to earn a master's degree in elementary education at Columbia University. Shirley Chisholm is best known for becoming the first black congresswoman, that was in 1968, representing the New York State and the U.S. House of Representatives for 7 terms. She went on to run for the 1972 Democratic nomination for the presidency, becoming the first major party African-American candidate to do so. Throughout her political life, Chisholm fought for education, opportunities, and social justice. Chisholm left Congress in 1983 to teach. She died in Florida in 2005. Shirley Chisholm.
It takes many partners to operate New Life Evangelistic Center. We're a large ministry operating and serving so many people all throughout Missouri. And so we appreciate so much Bernie Hayes and his many years of dedicated service to people who are experiencing homelessness all throughout Missouri. But we need people like you to partner with Bernie Hayes and with New Life Evangelistic Center to make a real impact in the lives of people who are hurting now. In a very practical way, you are being the hands and feet of Christ in the streets of St. Louis and Springfield, Missouri, and beyond. So I want to thank everyone who is partnering with New Life Evangelistic Center. I want to challenge you to get involved today for the glory of God and the good of others in our community. Thank you so much. And God bless those who are making a big impact on the lives of hurting people.
Welcome back. My guest is from the 10th Ward of the city of St. Louis. She's the older person there, Alderlady Shameem Clark Hubbard. Ms. Hubbard, the convention in Chicago recently, the Democratic National Convention, did you watch it, and what are your impressions of it?
Oh my goodness, I've been glued to the TV. I've had it pulled up on my phone. I've been listening to sound bites, checking emails, watching clips. That energy has been, I don't know, immeasurable. I mean, it's like you can feel it through the screens. And I wish I could have been there, but watching it to me has been just as exciting. It's like you feel the energy in the room, and knowing that greats here, our own local greats like Queen Ollie Stewart is there, and being able to look and see the different people that have been touched and the way that they have been spoken to. I think, again, in my lifetime, I have not felt this excited about a Democratic National Convention. And I felt the excitement for President Obama, remember?
Yeah, so certainly, yeah.
I absolutely felt the excitement there, but then this one is something different, and I guess it's probably obvious why it's something different, because you've got to feel a certain kind of way about a black woman, being a black woman and looking at a black woman up there.
So what do you think about the nomination of Vice President Kamala Harris?
I think it's, what's the quote that people use, that she is living the ancestors' wildest dream. I think it's amazing, and I'm just so excited and so riled up and ready to go. Let me tell you something. I believe, followed, revered, to your point, President Biden, and so I was excited. It wasn't that I wasn't this excited to have him as the nominee,
sure.
But again, just quite naturally, I just have to keep saying, as a black woman, I mean, I get goosebumps right now thinking about it, thinking about her and her being up there and listening to her story and her being, you know, the struggles and challenges, that everyday challenges that she went through that mirror the challenges that I hear and go through myself or have gone through. And her being there, it's just a different kind of feeling.
Okay. When are you up for re-election?
I'm up for re-election in 2027.
Okay. And do you have any further ambitions? I mean, is it too early to say that you want to go on to be a congressperson or president of the United States?
You know what? As the little black girl in me that ran around my grandfather in politics and never thought, you know, at that time it wasn't a lot of black women in politics.
Yes.
I had like Miss Frankie Muse Freeman that I could look up to, and Ina Boone that I could, you know, those women were around in the NAACP and so, but the elected officials and the politicians and stuff that I saw, they were all men. And so to then see, in my direct circle, I want to say, I know we had women that ran before, but to see this woman go, of course, I always said I could be, who doesn't say they want to be president of the United States? But I'll tell you, in my heart, there are some things that that I've been working on, that I want to continue to work on, and that I want to see come to fruition. And so with that, fruition takes time, especially in the city of St. Louis, right?
Yeah, of course.
So I have to be considerate of that and those things. There's some things that I really want to see happen in the 10th Ward and for the constituents of the 10th Ward. And so those are first and foremost for me right now.
That's called dedication. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And you are a dedicated person. Once again, tell us how to reach Shameem Clark Hubbard.
You can reach me very easily on my cell phone at 314-393-1393. Email is clark-hubbard@stlouis-mo.gov. www.ShameemClarkHubbard.com. Facebook and Instagram, Shameem Clark Hubbard. LinkedIn, Shameem Clark Hubbard. Twitter, SCHubbard10.
Okay. If there's one goal that you want to reach right now, say in the next year or so, what would that be?
My one goal is to build up the communities that have been so systemically, intentionally divided, not just in the 10th Ward, but in the city of St. Louis, to rebuild them, build their trust, build their being able to work collaboratively together. And being able to see that many of our problems are the same. Yeah. Many of our struggles are the same. Many of our wins are the same. We just have to continue to talk and work with each other, and then I think that once we do that, it'll spread and grow. And the 10th Ward has that Delmar divide in it. Yeah. And so for me, just being able, every time we take a chip off that Delmar divide, then I feel like we're doing something right.
I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being here.
Thank you for
Shameem Clark
having me.
Hubbard. She's the Alderlady from the 10th Ward, and she's a wonderful guest, and I hope you come back and visit us.
Absolutely, anytime.
Thank you so much. And we're the New Life Evangelistic Center, 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. And we invite you to come by and speak to Larry Rice and speak to those who are here and volunteers. I'm Bernie Hayes. Thank you so much for viewing us, and until next time, have a good day.